everybody, my name is Starupter. Welcome to the channel. Today I will be reviewing the 7th and final season of Star Wars The Clone Wars. This was an animated series that was first brought to us 12 years ago. It got canceled for season 5. They brought it back for season 6 on Netflix, and that was supposed to be it. And then guess what? Disney Plus was a thing, and we got the last 12 episodes. So I'm going to go into broad strokes. I'm not going to go into spoilers for this review because there's some seriously awesome surprises in this final season of The Clone Wars. And this really feels special right from the get-go. Everything is top notch. It is all ramped up in quality. You're going to notice the sounds, the animation is just on a level of feature films made for like Pixar and different caliber films like that. So we have these 3 different arcs that comprise of season 7 of Star Wars The Clone Wars. We have Captain Rex and the Bad Batch for episodes 1 through 4. Then for 5 through 8, we have Ahsoka's Walkabout arc. And finally, the long-awaited Siege of Mandalore Arc comprising of episodes 9 through 12. And this season wouldn't be as good as it is unless each of those arcs existed, because they all play off of one another, especially going into the final arc for the Siege of Mandalore. So everything in this season for the acting was super strong. You got D. Bradley Baker, voice of all the clones, especially as Rex, really pulling some gut punches. And we have Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka, just making sure this character is just growing with so much development. And of course you have Sam Witwer as Maul, who is just devious and crafty and as cunning as ever. And these vocal performances surpass the medium of animation, because I'm just drawn into these performances like I'd be watching a movie. And now I'm going to keep going back to that, comparing this to a movie, because especially those last 4 episodes for Siege of Mandalore, they could have released it in a movie theater. Why is this season so good? Let's just keep going. The music is Kevin Kiner. This guy is at the height of his career with scoring The Clone Wars, putting in little motifs to things like the Emperor and just all these awesome things like Across the Stars. You're getting characters right before the events of Revenge of the Sith, because this is last season and it's actually going to tie into the events of Revenge of the Sith. So we're seeing the final moments of all these characters before that fateful event that we know as Order 66. So having Dave Filoni really tying things in here, not just with Order 66 and Revenge of the Sith, but we have callbacks to Rogue One. We have plenty of callbacks to Solo: A Star Wars Story. We go to plenty of locations that I didn't expect in the Clone Wars, that every time something happened, it was kind of like, wait a minute, what's going on here, you know? And this feeling of this season really did feel like peak Star Wars to me. I just experiencing this, like the highs and the lows, the emotions, the edge of my seat tension moments that this season gave me. I was waking up super early just to watch these episodes before work to talk about them with you guys, because that's how good this season had me hooked. I wouldn't have done that if this was like a mediocre series, right? I wouldn't sacrifice sleep to do that, but I wanted to, because I couldn't wait to see what happened next in the stories of the Clone Wars. And just think about it, guys. This is the last bit of Star Wars that we are getting that was created from George Lucas, right? Like, George Lucas created the Clone Wars, and he entrusted Dave Filoni to take this series and really make it flourish and really make it what it is today as this beloved series by the fans. There are fans that grew up with the Clone Wars, and they think this is the best Star Wars there is. It's even more elevated than a movie. So for them to actually create quality content like this, and just it culminating in season 7 of the Clone Wars, is just so superb. I want to talk a little bit about the arcs and how they play into the Siege of Mandalore. Because the whole Clone Wars, the whole season 7 especially, the main characters are Captain Rex and Ahsoka Tano. And you can have the Siege of Mandalore, but it wouldn't be as impactful if we didn't get that arc of self-exploration for each of these characters and what they are dealing with throughout this entire conflict. And we're seeing Anakin Skywalker, and we're going to see like little dark moments where he's going to eventually turn into Vader. You're seeing as well characters like Obi-Wan briefly, and you're just getting a good scope of the galaxy overall, and just the big picture stuff that I didn't expect them to dive into, like the dogmatic ways of the Jedi, and Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order, like we've seen her in season 5. We didn't see her in season 6 at all, but she's back in season 7 in a big way, and learning like what life is like for those on the outside of the Jedi Order. There's plenty of Force users out there. Not all of them are Jedi, and the Jedi are falling far from grace, and this is how the dark side, Palpatine's able to take over. So we're able to see the citizens of the galaxy and their views on the Jedi, which is something we haven't seen before. And again, the Clone Wars is paving new way for doing things to that degree. It's just, this is peak Star Wars, guys. Literally, this is, for me, this is some of the best Star Wars out there. I feel like, especially, and I'm going to keep repeating this, like Siege of Mandalore Arc, those 4 episodes, that's better than some of the movies I watched in Star Wars. Some of the live action movies, the Siege of Mandalore is better than that, in my opinion. That's how strongly I like this series of episodes for the Clone Wars. I do have some negatives, and really they're kind of small, minute. I mean, I would say maybe they could restructure. They should have maybe restructured some of the episodes. Like, I could have done away with one of the episodes in that middle arc with Ahsoka Walkabout, because some of it was not as consequential as I would expect. And the finale episode of the Clone Wars, maybe they could have used a little less action, a little bit more conclusion, a little bit more tying up loose ends for some of the characters that survive and where they go and where their journeys take them, and maybe getting callbacks to other things previously in the Clone Wars. But other than that, this is phenomenal. And with that, I'm going to give the Clone Wars Season 7 a score of a 9.5 out of 10. This is the gold standard of animation. This is what every Star Wars show and every show in general needs to strive for. The way that Dave Filoni has experienced now from The Mandalorian, and the way that George Lucas has always treated the Clone Wars as not a TV series, but in fact a feature film. That's how they have to deal with making the show, is not looking at the holds that TV has and really just going the extra mile and treating this like a movie. And the cinematics in this, the cinematic quality of Season 7 is clearly evident. You look at this and compare it to Season 1 of the Clone Wars, and it is night and day. It really, really is. And it's because of that quality that it gripped me even more into the story, and in ways that I never would have expected. So I want to hear from you guys now. What did you think of Season 7 of Star Wars The Clone Wars, the final season of Star Wars The Clone Wars? It's crazy that, this journey started like 12 years ago around, and we are at an end. That makes this the 3rd Star Wars series that has been complete. We have Rebels, we have Resistance, and now we have the Clone Wars in all of that Star Wars animation. If you guys want to hear more about my thoughts about the Clone Wars, I've reviewed every single episode of Season 7 on the channel, so you can make sure you go back and check those out. Also, I talk a lot about other things, such as the books and the comics as well, and play some games from time to time. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you think any of that is interesting, because then you'll be alerted when future videos go live. That is going to do it for me, Star. But thank you guys so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also included 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at StarRaptor.